You are watching
CRDN
Civil Rights Daily News, recycling only the truth in rotation 24 hours a day.
Good afternoon, and thank you for tuning in to Civil Rights Daily News, your #1 source for propagandalist reporting, recycling only the truth in rotation 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Tonight, let's get into some breaking news where we are just finding out that the Southern Poverty Law Center's former chief financial officer was arrested on Wednesday and charged with fraud in a superseding indictment, accusing her of overseeing fraudulent donor payments to informants inside of hate groups, including one that she's allegedly been in a romantic relationship with and shared a bank account with for over a year. More information on that in a newly unsealed court docket. Heidi Byrick was arrested on Wednesday morning, August 12th, in California and charged with conspiracy to commit wire fraud and money laundering. In addition, Byrick was also formally in charge of the SPLC's hate group tracking section, and the indictment also alleges that Byrick had approved payments to an imperial wizard within the Ku Klux Klan, as well as another individual to whom she approved payments totaling over $1 million. Allegations go on to claim that Byrick had shared a bank account with this person between the years of 2015 to 2021, which had over $140,000 moved into it. Attorney General Todd Blanche said that the SPLC's indictment was exactly what we said would happen in a case like this, which is that our investigators and the U.S. attorneys and the agents working the case will keep on working it even after the initial indictment. With Civil Rights Daily News, we'll keep you updated on this case and any new details we find out about it coming up.
watching
CRDN
Civil Rights Daily News, recycling only the truth in rotation 24 hours a day. You are watching
CRDN
Civil Rights Daily News, recycling only the truth in rotation 24 hours a day.
Let's head into national news, where White House Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt will be taking a brief leave by the end of the month. Leavitt marks the youngest person to serve as press secretary at the age of 28 years old, and she'll be taking leave for the birth of her second child that was born in May. In a social media post, Leavitt said, quote, "The truth is, since returning to the White House after the birth of my daughter, I have felt in my heart that I cannot be the best mom to my two young children deserve, while devoting the constant time, energy, and attention required of the White House press secretary, and that this is exactly why I ultimately made the bittersweet decision to depart the White House and embark on a new chapter in my life." She's worked as a spokesperson for MAGA Inc., a super PAC supporting Trump way before his campaign when she had joined it in 2024. And in 2022, she also ran for Congress in New Hampshire, winning a 10-way Republican primary before ultimately losing to incumbent Democratic Representative Chris Pappas. Though it's not necessarily clear who will replace her, we are hearing rumors that the main reason why she could have left, well, one of the reasons why she could have left, could have possibly been due to the situation that had happened earlier this week, which we had reported on CRDN, our TikTok page, and our website. Essentially, of when Trump had switched planes from the Air Force One and left her there, as well as many of his other cabinet members and press members as well. But let's get into details a little bit more about her predecessors. Unlike her other predecessors, Leavitt had briefed from the White House press room less frequently than some of the other press secretaries as well. And with Trump, who regularly engages with reporters during White House events and during his travels, primarily he deploys Leavitt to Fox News and other conservative news outlets to trumpet his agenda, of course, and to take shots at Democrats and the mainstream media. Trump's first-term press secretaries were Sean Spicer and Sarah Huckabee Sanders, who were known for quarreling with reporters, and another, Stephanie Grisham, who had never held a briefing before, as well as her successor, Kayleigh McEnany, who often lectured the press media during her appearances in press briefing rooms as well. With Civil Rights Daily News, if you'd like to learn about this topic or about the former topic of Trump switching planes or any of our other national topics, you can check us out on our webpage, CRDN.NEWS.com, or check us out on our TikTok and YouTube pages at Civil Rights Daily News. I'm SAMIHA Charles, and we'll be right back after these brief messages.
are watching
CRDN.
Civil Rights Daily News, recycling only the truth in rotation 24 hours a day. You are watching
CRDN.
Civil Rights Daily News, recycling only the truth in rotation 24 hours a day.
Let's take a look into local news, where New York Governor Kathy Hochul and Attorney General Letitia James spoke out against new upgrades that will include a shock glove and to detain individuals, according to DHS statements. ICE officers may soon be provided shock gloves that can deliver painful electric shocks to gain compliance from seemingly combative individuals or members that they are detaining. They plan on spending $20 million to purchase thousands of conductive distraction and de-escalation devices for officers and agents by March, according to a notice that they published on Monday by the Department of Homeland Security. The devices are known as the GLOVE, which is also standing for Generated Low Output Voltage Emitters, and are manufactured by Compliance Technologies, LLC, of Lexington, Kentucky. These devices have formerly been used in jails and some police departments over the years. Though there's been no comment from the DHS or from ICE about any of these new devices or any responses to any of our inquiries about these devices, Compliant Technologies has been saying that the device functions as a normal pair of patrol gloves until the officers switch on a button to activate the electric mode. The gloves must be applied directly to someone's skin, delivering a painful shock that helps an officer gain compliance within seconds. Civil rights advocacy groups, of course, are already expressing mass alarm at this plan, and they're also saying that ICE officers are already facing criticism as is due to their excessive force and due to their limited accountability and oversight for the previous killings that have occurred this year alone. While also they're enforcing President Trump's immigration crackdown in the mix. Deputy Project Director on Policing at the American Civil Liberties Union, Jen Rolnick Borchetta, had said that, quote, the public should have no confidence that ICE officers will actually use the devices appropriately. In a statement, she also added that she spent the last year showing the country and that they're too quick to use force. Now they'll be able to deploy electric shocks with the slightest push of a button that maybe nobody else can see them do. She also said that introducing these gloves can be so easily used to deliver terrible pains and encounters in a recipe for harm to the public. So far, we have been hearing pushback from New York Governor Kathy Hochul as well as New York Attorney General Letitia James regarding these deployments and these new device upgrades. Let's take a look at one of these videos, a response from Governor Kathy Hochul.
In a moment, but that appears to me on its face to be a violation of civil rights, to cause that kind of physical harm to an individual, regardless of what the offense may be. And I would anticipate that the new protections that we just enacted in the law, just brand new, that says that you cannot trample on someone's constitutional rights and you cannot cause them undue harm, and you will be held accountable, should be in effect here.
James also made a statement particularly addressing that justice will be served if any of the citizens are harmed during these deployments. Let's take a look at what Attorney General Letitia James had said.
Of course, we are outraged. And in the event that a New Yorker is injured as a result of these gloves, obviously there will be a private right of action as well as action from the state of New York. You can best be assured of that.
That's right.
With Civil Rights Daily News, I'm SAMIHA Charles, and when we get back, we will head into economic news where sports betting may be some people's retirement plan. We'll take a look at that and more after these messages.
You are watching
CRDN.
Civil Rights Daily News, recycling only the truth in rotation 24 hours a day. You are watching
CRDN.
Civil Rights Daily News, recycling only the truth in rotation 24 hours a day.
Let's get into some brand new economic developments where sports betting is increasingly competing with traditional investing for Gen Z Americans. A study showed that about 26% of Gen Z investors born between the years of 1997 and 2007 are treating sports betting as an ongoing component of their financial plans, according to an online survey with 1,000 U.S. retail investors that was published on Wednesday of August 12th. So far in the study, only a third of the general Gen Z population has said that they don't participate in sports betting or the prediction market, but more than half of the young investors have already said that they have redirected their money originally earmarked for investing purposes into sports betting over the past year. In fact, sports betting is becoming so popularized that it's actually reshaping how younger adults are thinking about building wealth and increasing competition for discretionary dollars that might otherwise flow into retirement accounts or brokerage portfolios. In a statement released by Betterment Chief Executive Officer Sarah Levy, she said, quote, when a prediction market or a sports book starts to feel like a retirement strategy, we have a problem. These products are designed to keep people seeking the next quick score, not to help them build towards the next decade. In recent years, sports betting has expanded, if not doubled, to an almost $17 billion industry, while the growth of prediction markets have also been on the rise as well. Brands like Robinhood Markets, Inc., which has launched prediction markets inside of the app in 2025, said that the sector has become the fastest growing unit in the firm in the company's history. This is also alongside growing socioeconomic issues of affordability for housing or everyday living expenses that young adults are currently facing right now as they're combating against the Betterment survey, which also found that 56% of investors rely on their own research and judgment more than any other single source of guidance. Self-reliance climbed more than 40% among Gen Z respondents to 69% amongst boomers. And about 1 in 3% participants in the Betterment survey had said that they have also trusted artificial intelligence for financial advice. And of those 53% of individuals, they've also added that AI has influenced a financial decision that they otherwise wouldn't have typically made, including 48% of Gen Z respondents as well. And this is according to a study done by the Wealth Management Media. But let's take a break, and right before we take off, we will go into some brand new developments that are also unfolding regarding some sports betting apps that you may be comfortable with or that you may have heard of before. So after these messages, we'll go into another app that is currently facing court cases and investigations.
You are watching
CRDN.
Civil Rights Daily News, recycling only the truth in rotation 24 hours a day. You are watching
CRDN.
Civil Rights Daily News, recycling only the truth in rotation 24 hours a day.
In another economic development, New York State is suing Kalshi as of Friday of July 31st. They're saying that the app is nothing more than an illegal, unlicensed gambling scheme, but the lawsuit doesn't only seek to close down the company. They're also saying that if successful, the lawsuit could affect its operability and its reputation moving forward. The company insisted that its event contracts are federally regulated derivatives outside of the scope of state gaming laws. But New York State Attorney General Letitia James is not letting up and essentially said that Kalshi is merely seeking to avoid the legal and financial consequences of New York's close regulation of gambling by offering what is quintessentially wagering. The lawsuit alleged also that Kalshi violated state laws that prohibited wagering on games involving a New York college team and all sports bettings for those under 21 years old. In response to the lawsuit, Kalshi's head of communication, Elizabeth Diana, had said, "It's sad to see this type of political theater from the leadership in our state. States can't just shut down a federally licensed exchange." She also added that this would also hurt New Yorkers who would be driven offshore. "We love New York, we love New Yorkers, and New Yorkers love our product." A temporary restraining order to halt the state's lawsuit had been filed by the Commodity Futures Trading Commission, who had previously said that the prediction markets are its exclusive purview. The lawsuit is seeking a court order demanding policy to submit to state regulators and taxes to forfeit illegal profits. In addition, they're also ordering them to pay restitutions to users nationwide, with a possible penalty that can cost an estimated $36 billion. According to the statement released in the lawsuit, Kathy Hochul had also said that Kalshi has chosen to ignore New York's gambling laws, which exist to protect consumers, prevent problematic gambling, deliver funding for critical public services, and ensure that every company plays by the same rules. New York Attorney General Letitia James also said New York's gambling laws protect children from underage betting and help combat gambling addiction. James had also added that no matter what they call themselves, whether it's prediction makers like Kalshi or gambling platforms, plain and simple, it's what they are, gambling. What are your thoughts on sports betting? Do you agree with these new changes that they are planning on making, this lawsuit? What are your thoughts? Leave us your feedback, your thoughts, and your advice for any news stories you'd like us to report on in the comments in our TikTok live streams, or you can check us out on our website at CRDN.NEWS.com. I'm SAMIHA Charles. Thank you for tuning in.
You are watching
CRDN.
Civil Rights Daily News, recycling only the truth in rotation 24 hours a day. You are watching
CRDN.
Civil Rights Daily News, recycling only the truth in rotation 24 hours a day.
Let's get into a brand new unsealed indictment that alleged that Nick Reiner was lying in wait before killing his parents. The Los Angeles grand jury has indicted Nick Reiner on murder charges for killing his parents. Director, actor, and Hollywood luminary Rob Reiner and his wife, Michelle Reiner, a photographer and producer, who were stabbed to death in their home in the upscale Brettonwood section of Los Angeles on December 14th. He was arrested within hours and charged 2 days later. In the secret grand jury meetings, they returned to the indictment on July 20th, which was unsealed on Wednesday of August 12th. They also alleged that Nick Reiner was, quote, lying in wait, which typically means that he waited for or hid from the victims in order to ambush them. And as an allegation, it's also meant to show that this is also a form of premeditation as well. He entered a not guilty plea deal, and in the new indictment, it also specifies that a special allegation of the use of a deadly weapon, known as a knife, could also contribute to stiffer sentencing. Reiner is also seeking unpaid money from the trust that his parents had established for him during the trial and in his court petition. He said that the trustees who oversee the funds have denied them to him without legal justification, and that the money would have gone to Nick Reiner even if his parents were alive. Legal filings say that the petition says the trust has at least $1.5 million in assets, but trustees refuse to disclose the exact amount. He's also seeking to hire his high-profile criminal defense attorney, Alan Jackson, who was formerly representing his case, but is no longer due to his siblings agreeing that they would no longer fund his defense and that they would opt to using a public defender instead for the rest of the trial. The next hearing is on the petition and it's due for next week, where we'll be learning more information about this indictment. We'll keep you updated on any more details that we hear about this investigation. And if you'd like to learn more about our previous reporting on this story and of the death of Rob Reiner, you can check us out on our TikTok pages at Civil Rights Daily News and on our YouTube pages at the same name, or check us out on our website, CRDN-NEWS.com. With Civil Rights Daily News, I'm SAMIHA Charles.
You are watching
CRDN.
Civil Rights Daily News, recycling only the truth in rotation 24 hours a day. You are watching
CRDN.
Civil Rights Daily News, recycling only the truth in rotation 24 hours a day. You are watching
CRDN.
Civil Rights Daily News, recycling only the truth in rotation 24 hours a day.
Let's take a look into international news, where we'll be heading into Palestine, where Israeli settlers have been harassing Palestinian homeowners. Starting on Sunday of August 9th, settlers have been surrounding 3 houses in the village of Qusra in the occupied West Bank for several days. According to Palestinian American homeowners Louis Reedy and his brother, on Thursday morning, Israeli troops set to intervene on the intercepting of their homes, with the brother Kasai Abu Rida saying that they were moved by Israeli military to another home and yet still can't leave the area about 16 kilometers or 10 miles away from the Palestinian city of Nablus. The military said that its troops dismantled 2 illegal outposts near the home on the outskirts of Qusra in a nearby village, detaining at least 1 Israeli settler so far. Mayor Abdel Azimwadi said that the Israeli forces have evacuated 7 homes in total to take positions in the village, though the settlers that were removed from their outposts remain in other parts of the village. They were essentially removed from one place that they were harassing Palestinian homeowners, and yet instead of being arrested, they were still released into the village and wandering to other neighboring homes to harass them as well. A resident from a neighboring village had said, quote, "No one is allowed to enter, even for food or water, or they're prohibited from reaching those besieged. And it's not necessarily clear when the families in those besieged areas will be able to get basic supplies or what could happen to their homes." But so far, sources have essentially said that on the outskirts, the roads leading into the village were closed as of Thursday afternoon. But let's also go into details a little bit about the siege. It had actually broke out 5 days ago, but this has been an ongoing situation. They essentially blocked and prevented homeowners from entering or leaving their homes. Homeowner Reedy also said that his 48-year-old brother and his nephew had not been able to access new food or water supplies for several days, and that the settlers have been targeting his home for months, way before the situation even has escalated to what it is now. In recent days, they cut off water and electricity leading to his home and had also thrown stones at the property, causing damage. He said, quote, "We are prisoners in our own house, hostages in our own house." The Israeli military had condemned the siege as illegal, reprehensible, and unacceptable. On Tuesday, they declared that the area will be closed by the military zone. But as of Wednesday, dozens of settlers returned back and began to block the roads with rocks. These sieges, as mentioned before, are nothing new to Palestine. And in fact, over the past few years, Palestinians and Israeli oppositioners have all accused Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and his hardline government for essentially overlooking the attacks against Palestinians by the Israeli settlers. However, Israeli ministers and cabinet members have also downplayed the violence and described it as the actions of, quote unquote, a few fringe youth acting outside the law. The violence in the Kosovo region of Palestine has been ongoing, with a mosque in Qusra being set on fire just last month in another settler attack. It also followed the killing of an Israeli settler who triggered violence that resulted in 2 Israeli soldiers and 4 Palestinian villagers dead. Settlers have also continued building more outposts in efforts to dismantle bits of hope of establishing a Palestinian state or even a neighborhood in the occupied West Bank. In a quote released, they said that the Palestinians seek the West Bank captured by Israel in the 1967 war as part of the future state. Many settlers and their supporters say that the entire area should belong to Israel for historic, religious, and security purposes. Thank you for tuning in to Civil Rights Daily News, your #1 source for propagandalist reporting. If you'd like to learn more information about what's going on in Palestine or in Gaza, you can check us out on our TikTok and our YouTube pages, Civil Rights Daily News, or check us out on our website, CRDN-NEWS.com.
You are watching
CRDN.
Civil Rights Daily News, recycling only the truth in rotation 24 hours a day. You are watching
CRDN.
Civil Rights Daily News, recycling only the truth in rotation 24 hours a day. You are watching
CRDN.
Civil Rights Daily News, recycling only the truth in rotation 24 hours a day. You are watching
CRDN.
Civil Rights Daily News, recycling only the truth in rotation 24 hours a day.
Let's get into another international news segment that hits rather close to home. 5,000 sailors and Marines remain on the USS Lincoln that deployed on November 21st and has been deployed for over 8 months now, while supporting U.S. military operations in the Middle East against Iran. The deployment was meant to end on May, but had extended with no announcement date on when they would return back. Sailors are lacking fundamental needs such as food, water, and supplies, with some also reportedly attempting to commit suicide due to the harsh conditions. At least two military papers have reported on this issue, including the Navy Times and the Star Stripes. They reported that multiple attempts by sailors have been to jump overboard, given the poor conditions and mental stress on the Lincoln as they're reaching a breaking point. Currently, they are in their 9th month at sea and have spent over 250 days consecutively without touching land. Families are greatly concerned about their loved ones on board and their safety, with one spouse telling sources that her husband had texted her one day stating that, quote, he hopes he doesn't wake up tomorrow. The crew has only landed in Guam for 2 days in December and in Oman in July. Since then, they have been on board stuck, suffering from lack of food, running hot water, and other basic fundamental needs. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth dismissed these accounts as, quote, more fake news. But in a response, however, Mike Levin, a Democratic member of Congress from California, sounded the alarm over the conditions on X and said, quote, these women and men signed up to serve their country. The least their country owes them is a hot water, a working toilet, and a real meal. Hegseth cannot even manage that, and he has the nerve to look their families in the eye and call them liars. Sources from The Guardian also stated that they had tried to contact the U.S. Navy requesting responses to reports of attempts to jump overboard. A Navy official had responded saying that they were aware and that they, quote, the extended deployments place a significant strain on our service members and their families, and we are grateful for the resilience and sacrifices they make. And in response to the health and well-being of the sailors on the Lincoln, they also added that it was their top priority and that based on information available to the command, we have not identified an increase in reported suicidal ideation or suicide attempts aboard the ship. This comes after several reports of multiple individuals not only fighting on the ship, but some of them have recalled accounts of them helping their sailors from jumping overboard. With Civil Rights Daily News, I'm SAMIHA Charles, and if you'd like to learn more about this situation or any other topic, check us out on our website, CRDN-NEWS.com, or check us out on our TikTok and our YouTube pages at Civil Rights Daily News. I'm SAMIHA Charles, and thank you for tuning in.
are watching
CRDN.
Civil Rights Daily News, recycling only the truth in rotation 24 hours a day. You are watching
CRDN.
Civil Rights Daily News, recycling only the truth in rotation 24 hours a day. You are watching
CRDN.
Civil Rights Daily News, recycling only the truth in rotation 24 hours a day.
In hopes of finding more survivors from the torrential earthquake that had hit Colombia earlier this week on Monday, rescue workers are narrowing their searches while families in the worst hit areas are still waiting for news of their missing loved ones. In Cali, the country's third largest city, crews have turned their attention from a search and rescue effort to debris removal at many different sites. This is a sign that the disaster response was entering a much more stark phase after the first quintessential 72 hours. The 7.4 magnitude earthquake struck Colombia on Monday around 7:30 a.m. local time, rattling the cities of Cali, Pereira, and other towns and cities. At least 273 people have been reported killed, and many of them have been from Cali and Pereira, with more than 3,800 people still injured, and 377 people are still reported missing. Let's take a look at this video just to see the torrential earthquake at the time and how badly it impacted the city.
Yo pensé que era el carro. Dios mío. Mira esto, mira esto. Ahí, mira esto, mira esto. Uy, Dios mío, Dios mío. Ya. Ya, calma. Ya. Uy, bendito Dios, bendito Dios.
As you can see from the earthquake, it had rattled everything and had caused buildings to completely collapse. It had also exposed some rather vulnerable infrastructure and a prime necessity for stronger infrastructure against harsher conditions, especially given climate change. Over 16,000 buildings were reported damaged or collapsed. Forensic authorities in Colombia have identified their first 22 victims earlier in the week from some of the hardest hit cities, including Manizales, Buenaventura, and Pereira. The prosecutor's office are also coordinating with the families to continue helping them locate their loved ones. So far, what we know, there are still many other individuals that are trapped under the debris, with rescue workers continuing to search through the rubble to find them. With Civil Rights Daily News, I'm SAMIHA Charles, and if you'd like to learn more about this report, check us out on our earlier reporting on CRDN-NEWS.com, or check us out on our TikTok and YouTube pages at Civil Rights Daily News.
You are watching
CRDN.
Civil Rights Daily News, recycling only the truth in rotation 24 hours a day. You are watching
CRDN.
Civil Rights Daily News, recycling only the truth in rotation 24 hours a day.
Let's get into entertainment news, where Spider-Man Brand New Day is still in the lead with Odysseys and collecting $144.5 million domestically over its second weekend. The Sony Marvel release has accrued about $167 billion worldwide in just a matter of a 10-day release, which is said to be one of the largest blockbusters ever in the United States and Canadian theaters. Brand New Day has grossed over $655.1 million thus far and overseas alone. It's already surpassed $1 billion, and it only took a matter of 7 days for Brand New Day, for Spider-Man Brand New Day to become the highest grossing movie of this year, essentially displacing Toy Story 5, which unfortunately I still want to see. But, Odyssey is ranking IMAX's highest grossing domestic release of all time with $147.3 million domestically. Spider-Man New Day and the Odysseys have both helped bolster Hollywood to its best box office a year since the pandemic. Rentrak had forecasted that the revenue for the cinemas will reach a staggering $4 billion by Monday, August 10th of this week, and that the summer revenue is just at $4.8 million shy of the $4 billion through Sunday. The top movies by the domestic box office, with final domestic figures being released on Monday, have listed factors in the estimated ticket sales for Friday through Sunday at the United States and Canadian theaters. According to Rentrak, Spider-1 is topping number 1 at $145 million, with number 2 at The Odyssey at $31.5 million. And One Night Only is at number 3 at $5.7 million. Super Troopers 3 at $4 million. Toy Story, my favorite movie, at $3.9 million. Minions and Monsters at $3.5 million. They're still going. Moana at $2.8 million. Ice Cream Man at $2 million. The Invite at $717,568. And Cat Video Fest 2026 at $568,414 at number 10. So this was our list of top box office numbers. As you can see, Odysseys and Spider-Man are climbing in the charts, and we're hoping that they will continue to be as such leading into the week. But that's all we have for Civil Rights Daily News. And thank you for tuning in today. I hope you guys are having a wonderful week, wonderful day, wonderful month, wherever you guys are. And we will see you guys in our next segment. Thank you for tuning in to Civil Rights Daily News, your #1 source for propagandalist reporting, recycling only the truth in rotation, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I'm SAMIHA Charles. I'll see you next time. Thank you, guys.
You are watching
CRDN.
Civil Rights Daily News, recycling only the truth in rotation 24 hours a day.
Tune into Civil Rights Daily News, TikTok, YouTube, and our website to catch CRDN Sidelines with Cam and Reggie. All your sports news reporting on a dime. Catch CRDN Sidelines every Wednesday starting May 6th from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Catch CRDN Real Take with SAMIHA Charles live Sunday mornings from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. starting May 10th. For Civil Rights Daily News, recycling only the truth in rotation, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, I'm Jade Lopez.